We're live. We good? Yes. I think we got a couple different camera angles here too, which is pretty awesome. Jared at Lethal Performance. It is January 14th, 2019. The reveal of the 2020 GT500 has taken place. So, we've been actually a lot leading up to this stuff here. I'm at Cholo Soy here in West Palm Beach. My buddy Clay Starnes owns this awesome taco joint here. Actually has a badass barbecue place as well. So I love the setting here. I just want something kind of like laid back, totally like Anthony Bourdain inspired to come out, hang out, talk some car stuff about this GT500. And I thought this place would be the perfect setting here. So I asked Clay if we could use the spot. And he said, hell yeah. So we're here. We're set up live. So I've got Clay in the house, and I also have a special guest here. And we're going to be talking about the car and racing and just BS and have a good time. So anyways, guys, I want to introduce you to my buddy Clay. Come on over, Clay. Yeah, bro. Live. Team Lethal fans, bro. Say what's up.
Yo. Bro. What's up, Team Lethal fans?
Yeah. So Clay, really not huge car guy or anything like that, but again, I'm a foodie and I love great food.
I have a car.
You do? Yeah.
I have two, dude. You know?
Yeah, exactly, right? They drive. They're not Fords though, are they?
No, not yet. I do want a Raptor though. I aspire to have a Raptor, so next year's tax bracket will probably launch me there. You know?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I met Clay, man, I don't know, maybe what, like 6 months ago or something like that. And we just chatted and stuff, man. I've known about him. Obviously, I've eaten his food before and stuff. And started coming down here. Has awesome food. It's, like I said, a great setting. So it's kind of something I envisioned for doing our reveal party. And so, yeah, that's it. I mean, Clay's a young professional like myself. I mean, hardworking guy and, you know, successful. And so that's why, again, I like to obviously include people who I'm friends with and help them with their businesses and stuff like that. And so that's why we're here, hanging out Cholo Soy. So real quick, dude, like, how did you, like, the whole food thing, you've been doing it for a long time?
Yeah, man, you know, like, I started, I guess, like a lot of, like, chefs that have been working a long time in kitchens. It's pretty gnarly business. So when I was, like, 12, you know, growing up in South Florida, you know, we needed surfboards and skateboards and stuff like that, man. So, you know, my mom was like, hey, you know, you should probably get like a job or in the summer or something. And she had some leads on some stuff, and I just started washing dishes. And then fast forward, you know, through, you know, Italy and Ecuador and New York City and the places I've studied and been and worked. And here we are. I decided to open a taco shop of all things here on Dixie Highway in West Palm, Florida, man. So yeah, that's the short of it, man. This is how we got here, you know?
And, I mean, it's been very successful for you, and you've also just opened up a barbecue joint in Grandview Public, which is another awesome spot, which I love to maybe do another video there. Yeah. It's great location, cool vibe. So, yes, like I said, Team Lethal fans, welcome. It's Monday. We're up early. We've been working hard towards this. A lot has gone on in the last like 24 hours with this whole GT500 reveal. You know, again, we're just going to have a great time. We're going to talk about some cars, try and bring you some awesome content about it. And I'm excited. So with that said, I'm going to bring in my special guest, a friend of mine I met a few years back. And you guys may recognize him from when we picked up our Focus RS over at Weichert Ford. He's the guy who started drifting it through the parking lot doing donuts with. He also came out and drove our GT350 on the track at Palm Beach International Raceway. A very well-known and accomplished professional race car driver, badass, Mr. Billy Johnson. Come on in, bud. Yeah. Woo-woo. What's up, man? Join the party.
How's it going?
What's going on, man? Yeah. Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. It's I mean, interesting format and stuff like that. You know, laid back, relaxed. Try to relax.
Yeah, well, I came for the tacos. So
yeah,
where are these things
where
at?
Where the tacos at?
They're coming.
I know.
All right,
I know.
excellent.
They're
fresh
making
tortillas, man.
They're making the tortillas right now as we speak. So
I can't wait. I'm from Southern California, so I love me some tacos.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, Clay, get on that after this, will you?
Will do.
So, like I said, Billy. Gosh, he's got a very well accomplished race car career starting. I mean, I've looked up him on, actually, believe it or not, this guy, he's so cool. He's got a wiki page. You find him on Wikipedia. That's big time, man. When you're Wikipedia, I'm not there yet. Possibly at some point in my life, but he's got it. So you look him up.
I want one.
And yeah, and he's been doing this for a long time. I think your career started out in like go-kart driving, like
well, dirt bikes when I was 5 years old, and then got into go-karts.
Okay.
Moved my way into Formula cars, and through scholarships and sponsorships, got into sports car racing and built my career around that, and just moved up the ranks. And yeah, now
and here you are.
I'm here with you. So.
Unbelievable. Ford Performance driver. I mean, like even like before that stuff, we're talking about like the Boss 302R you've raced, right? The GT350 RC, is it as well?
Yes. So I've had the opportunity to race a lot of Mustangs in the last couple decades. So that makes me feel old saying that. But yeah, the first Mustang that I raced was the FR500C. So that was a 4-valve camera motor. It was pretty much like the 4.6 hopped up. It was a really neat motor with the S197 chassis, and then that car over the years morphed into the Boss 302R, and so the bodywork was updated in 2013, and we had that 444 horsepower awesome engine in there, and then that turned into after that program was over, the S550 came out. So that's when we debuted the Shelby GT350R. Yep. The RC was the race version of that, and that had the flat plane crank 5.2 liter V8 in there, and a year later we won the championship in 2016.
So that, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a solid win right there.
And I believe that was the first championship or professional championship in a Shelby car in I think like 4 decades. So that was very special to represent the Shelby brand, to win that championship with my teammate and co-driver Scott Maxwell and Ford Performance and Multimatic Motorsports. Yep. And then now the new Mustang GT4 race car is the current platform. So I should be racing that.
And that is S550
That's
platform?
still S550. So that is basically a GT4 spec car, and in that class you have like the Audi R8, you have the McLaren 570 racing a Mustang.
We're competing against McLarens and stuff.
Yeah, little old Mustang pony car, can't turn drag race pony car historically is now racing McLarens, mid-engine Audi R8s, mid-engine Porsche Caymans, and there's also Camaro, BMW M4, a lot of turbocharged cars, and yeah, the Audi's a V10, the McLaren's a twin-turbo V8, and
good stuff, man. I've known about him. Obviously, I've eaten
Sorry about
before
that.
and
I want to see that if we get any questions here. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
and so yeah, like the Mustang has just morphed into a like a supercar beater, pretty much. Like to be able to challenge and compete against and win against these supercars.
It's crazy.
Is the Mustang's come a long way from being an awesome car when it came out into the 60s to now being like a world-class sports car. And I believe, was it like a year ago that it's like the best-selling Mustang globally in the entire world? So great for Ford. It's great to be a part of this family, and
of course,
part
man.
of
That's
history.
It's pretty awesome though. I mean, like again, it's so accomplished, you guys. I mean, again, Billy lays low for the most part in real life and stuff like that, but as a driver, man, this guy, he does it big. Again, I've been in the car with him when he took our GT350 around the track, and I've watched him race and stuff. I mean, even I was in Portugal over the summer, and I saw him driving Le Mans, like the number 66 Ford GT car. This guy can drive, man. He's got so much experience with these vehicles and stuff like that, and that's why, I want him here with us today. He's also very involved in the testing of these vehicles. He's actually quite tight-lipped about most of the stuff, so which is good in many ways, not for us, but I mean, I always try and maybe get as much information as I can without getting Billy in trouble. And that's I would like to mention that I'm a Ford guy. I love the brand, Ford Performance. Ford is my passion. The Mustang's my passion, my livelihood. the people that work for me, all of my fans and my customers and stuff like that around the world. That's it. We love the brand. We're only here to support the Ford brand. So yeah, that's it. I'll try and get as much info as I can out there for you guys about this new car without getting Billy in trouble. But Ford, we're here for you. We support you guys. So yeah, so that's it. So gosh, man, a lot has gone on in the last like 24 hours, like leading up to this here, to this like reveal. You know, we're all real curious about. You know, there's been so many rumors about the vehicle. And it's been a long time coming. We've been waiting for a car like this for a while now. And a lot of speculation, even all the rumors and stuff, you know, videos of it early on with supposedly like a twin turbo 7-liter, and people weren't really sure. So we're getting some answers, right? At least there's some clarity. And like I said, in the last 24 hours, we've seen even like a release of like a brochure, a pamphlet with a lot of the specifications of the vehicle. And now we just actually watched the live feed from the Detroit Auto Show about the car, and they gave us some good info too. So we're gonna just again have a great time. We've also got we're gonna be giving away a couple of gift cards during this, so there's an opportunity for you guys who are watching to win some money to spend over at Lethal Performance on your Mustang mods. And so as we go along here, I believe Christy's got some codes she's gonna put up there, and first come first serve, guys. So yeah. If you basically, you know, just you're watching and share it up, you know, like it, share it, tell your friends about it, and you have also an opportunity to win some money with us. All right. So, gosh, it's like, where do we even start with the car?
Well,
I mean,
look at all the questions are talking about the horsepower. I mean, like that seems to be like the thing. And I mean, like if you look here, they say that they posted it on Ford, and then one guy, you know, so it's
yeah.
like what I mean.
Yep,
dude,
there's been talk about it. I believe Ford has talked before about, they've confirmed that it would be over 700, which actually they just mentioned here as well, over 700 horsepower. I think a lot of us were really looking for that number. Like, dude, we want to know, like, based on, you know, everything else, like the recipe, the weight of the vehicle, the, you know, actually the braking system, the transmission now. People want to know the number, and we really didn't get that clear answer from them. And you know, there could be several reasons why, but I mean, I personally would like to see that 750 number around that, and I'd be happy really with that. I mean, the last GT500 was what, the 663 or so, something like that, on the 13 to 14 GT500. But we're on a whole new level now, competing against other vehicles out there that are making big horsepower. So it'd be nice to see some clarity on the numbers, maybe on their next like auto show or something like that. But yeah, so that's it. We don't have exact numbers, but 5.2 liter, right?
Yeah.
Cross plane crank. They said 2.6 liter supercharger on there.
Yep.
And what, TVS, Eaton style? Or
I'm not sure, and I don't believe they
didn't
said
mention.
that either.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So supposedly, we got to get this guy some more rum.
That's why I'm drinking
yeah,
water.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So you can't get me in trouble.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, we have breaking news here. Breaking news, guys. We don't have a horsepower number yet, unfortunately. So, but we do have a lot to talk about. So.
I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, so he said it was over 700 horsepower.
Over 700.
I'm going to let you in a little secret.
Okay.
It's over 701 horsepower.
You guys have
Heard it here first.
Breaking news. Breaking news right here.
First.
Lethal Performance.
I may have lost my job from that, but
well, over 700 would be 701. I mean,
so I'm going to say and let you know that it's over 701.
Okay, got it. So
honestly, I don't know. Like, so being a part of development of cars is just a dream come true. Work with some amazing people. I get some publicity here and get to talk to the fans and the community a little bit, but there's so many like really talented people, engineers, hardworking mechanics at Ford who are the real heroes. Like I am just honored to be able to work with these guys, and I do my part, but those are the guys who work day in and day out to bring these cars to the market.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome to be able to work with them. But having said that, and knowing the inside workings of a lot of things, I truly don't know the horsepower figure.
Yeah.
And there's so much that goes into
right?
the development of the car, emission standards, noise. There's so much that affects the horsepower of the car.
Okay.
The layout of the mufflers, like I said, emissions, you name it. And all those things affect the final horsepower. So because that stuff changes during the development,
Okay.
like we don't say, oh, it's this horsepower, because that number changes. And then also the target may change. So there's so much that happens in there that thankfully I can say honestly that I don't know. But it is
Once they have it finalized, once they have, like, again, the car's like final, like production, like we've got our like approval for emissions and everything else, like that's when they say, here's the number based on us passing the emissions, passing all this testing and everything else, and what we're going to market it at, and that's how they come up with that final figure there.
Exactly. So there's a lot that goes into that, and that's why often you see weird numbers. Like, it's not always a round number. It might be a car could have, like the GT350, it has 527 horsepower.
Yep.
So you could easily say 520 is a round number, but for whatever
Purposes.
happened and everything, they got 527 out of it. Or it may have been 530 and then something had to change and it got knocked down to 527. So there's so much that happens late in the process that that final number comes about once all of that work is done. So thankfully I can't get myself into trouble because I don't know that number. But
of course, we could get you in trouble in many other ways. Don't
all
worry
right,
about
excellent.
It. Clay,
But
we're going to get him in trouble.
but it's a lot. Like, the car has a lot of horsepower.
Yep.
So over 700 horsepower. That's at least over 50 horsepower more than the Ford GT. So that's and then they did announce that the GT500 has the most horsepower of any Ford ever made, any Mustang, any Ford. So it's definitely a
That's
game
a good
changer.
thing. That's a good thing for all of our people out there, all our fans watching. Definitely, like, it's good to hear that we're moving like higher. I definitely, like, no one wants to be disappointed. You know what I mean? And they want to see, like, everyone who's also so brand conscious and stands by it. They bleed blue. They're Ford people, die-hard Ford people. They don't want to be let down by this car, especially after waiting for so long and hearing so many rumors about it. You're like, you know, like come on, impress us and show it to us. So it's unbelievable, though. You know, I mean, dude, from where you started to now, you are involved in testing these vehicles for Ford. What an awesome feeling, experience. I mean, guys, it's, you know, out there, again, I'm not a driver, man. I get in front of a camera every once in a while and do my sales bit and stuff like that. Everyone's got their niche. This guy's job is driving. This guy's job is tacos and barbecue.
I'm excited about the tacos.
Yeah, I know, right? Where the tacos at?
So, but one thing I'm curious about, so, like, what does all this mean to, like, a guy like me? Like, I get in this car, right? You know, I get to drive one. What's it mean on, like, the quarter mile? Like, how am I moving this thing? Because for me, like, I love speed, you know, motorcycles I have, you know, I'm into it, man. So, like, what's it mean? I get into this thing, like, what do I expect to feel, you know? I mean, I think people kind of want to know about that too, you know?
So, I don't know, like, going into all those kind of figures to the average guy, those numbers 0 to 60, they did announce that it's in the mid 3-second range.
3.5, yeah, something like that.
They just said mid 3-second range, so we don't know what number that is.
Super quick.
And yeah, that's definitely respectable. But they also said quarter mile time in less than 11 seconds.
Yeah.
So that is into the 10s. So based off of, and again, disclaimer, this isn't me, this is Jim Farley saying that it was quarter mile in less than 11 seconds. So it's a 10-second car. Like, that is awesome. But going back to your question, and you could even expand this further into lap times. When you look at 0 to 60s, there's so many ways to measure 0 to 60. Do you have a 3-foot rollout? Do you not have a 3-foot rollout? What surface do you do the acceleration test on? Are you on, like, a sticky drag racing surface that is going to improve
using
those
slicks
times?
or whatever?
Well, those numbers all have to be, like, on the factory tires. But like, those are just bragging right numbers. Like, you can often, and we've seen it time and time again. Brooks with Drag Times goes out and runs a lot of his cars where he beats the factory times on a prepped surface. So if, like, I don't know, McLaren 720, I think its 0 to 60 is called, like, 2.9 seconds or so, and he did it, like, in 2.5 or something on a prep surface. So what matters? Like, what matters to the average Joe? Is it what the manufacturer states? What somebody can do? Like, And again, with the 0 to 60, there's a couple different ways to measure that. So which one matters?
Which is the one that
And
means the
then
most?
You could go into like lap time. So that's
Yeah.
my area of expertise is
Lap times.
lap times and,
Yeah.
and driving the cars on the tracks. And when you read magazines, if a journalist does a lap time, does that matter? Does a
pro driver matter? Yeah.
matter? Does it matter if the factory and their factory drivers was able to turn a lap time? Does it matter what you could do?
Exactly.
And like, so what really matters? And I don't really go on the forums because there's always
Because you lay low. You
Yeah.
lay low, bro.
I try to lay low, but again, it comes down to what matters, and there's always going to be an angle or something to argue about, or an angle and point to argue for. But what really matters for people for 0 to 60 and lap time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
during the development of stuff like this, for me personally, I used to love all those figures, those hard
0 to
figures.
60s, yeah.
I read magazines. I had
Same
like,
here.
subscriptions to every
Dude,
magazine
in the
as a
back,
kid.
in the back, they had the list in
Oh,
alphabetical
for sure.
order of all the cars and their 0 to 60
Yeah.
time and quarter mile time and everything else.
And that meant everything to me. But as I became more and more involved with this type of work, that has actually became less and less relevant for me. And with cars that are this fast these days, like the GT350R, the GT500, the Ford GT, McLaren 720, the Corvette Z06, ZR1, you
Yeah.
name it, the Lamborghini Performante and the Ferrari Pista. All these cars are so insanely fast. Heck, forget those exotics. Go to the Mustang GT, the Camaro SS,
Yeah.
the Porsche Cayman.
These cars-
all these cars are so much faster than like 99% of the people who are buying them.
Oh, of course.
So, like, what really matters? But I think as a car guy, it's just a great day and age to have such capable cars that you can buy. But when you start nitpicking some of these little numbers, like, most people aren't going to get anywhere near
Yeah.
the ability of these.
It's funny. I get that question, the 0 to 60 question a lot. A lot of time I'm like, I really don't know. Like what, when someone sees like Project Goldmember, the car makes like 950 at the wheels and went 930s with the car, and like those are like I guess I base my numbers off of that. But then like I'm asked by, let's say, like a family member or someone I really don't know to be like, what's it do 0 to 60? And I'm like, gosh, I would never even thinking about a number like that for this car, because everyone, what's it mean to you? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is it a lap time? Is it a drag time? Quarter mile? Is it 8th mile? A lot of guys race 8th mile. Is it road course? What's your lap time? I mean, there's so many different things, and like again, so they say what mid 3 second 0 to 60 time on this car. I think this car, let's talk, it's going to be not only drag strip, but like what are the times on the road course as well? What are your lap times? This car is set to perform. So there's a lot to go over on this car here. So yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry, I'm going to steal your sweatshirt.
Go
It's
ahead. Are
cold.
you cold?
I think the rest of the country's going to hate
That's
us
all right.
because it's like 60 degrees here.
I know,
and
right?
It's snowing everywhere else. but
We're in Florida,
I'm
and it's
stealing your jacket.
chilly morning, but it's all good. And look at that, rocking that lethal performance right there in the house. So yeah, I mean, let's I guess. Actually, is it time to give out a gift card, Christy? Oh, awesome. Good. Gift cards. Gift cards for everybody. Gift cards. Making it rain. Making it rain. Again, welcome everyone to the Lethal Performance 2020 GT500 reveal after party. We've got Billy Johnson in the house. My buddy Clay Starnes. We're over at Cholo Soy in West Palm Beach, just BSing, talking car stuff, highlighting this GT500 that we've all been waiting for. So we're just having a great time. I hope everyone else is enjoying. If you guys do have questions for me, something that you'd like to know that I can ask Billy or Clay, put it up there and I'll do my best to answer for you, okay? So
What's next?
What's next? I've been seeing a lot of talk about like the car, like some of the things that they did speak about. I mean, we took some notes on the vehicle. The big one of the big things is, again, that was talked about a long time, is the transmission. A lot of guys, man, if they don't make it a manual, I'm not buying it. You hear that a lot. If they don't do this, autos are lame. Blah blah blah.
That comes up a lot, even like in my like realm, just with my buddies and stuff too. Like when we talk about it, like I had I had a car and I bought it like, you know, automatic transmission. And they're like, oh, but you didn't get the manual. And I was like, well, like, but isn't the technology that good these days? So this is kind of like hitting on that, you know, like so what's the deal, you know?
So I'm a car guy. I love cars. I love driving. It's obviously a passion, and I get to do what I'm passionate about. So I'm very, very fortunate. So the debate, automatic versus manual, is definitely a hotly contested debate. Hands down, a good automatic or dual clutch transmission is faster. So if you care about drag racing, it's going to be faster. It takes the driver out of the equation, which is a criticism and negative of those transmissions, out of it, but it goes into gear every single time. And one of the biggest advantages is there's more gears. You can have 7 speeds, 8 speeds, 10 speeds, and when you have more of those gears, you can stack the ratios closer together, so you're at peak RPM or peak horsepower longer. So when you upshift, RPMs drop and your horsepower drops out from the peak. So the closer you stack those gear ratios, the more you're at peak horsepower.
You lose your power band,
Which means, exactly, you stay in the power band longer, which means the car accelerates faster. That's why muscle cars back in the 70s, they had like 400 horsepower, but they had like 3 speeds. Maybe like 4 speeds if you were balling. But when you have gears that are that long, you're in the gear forever, and it takes forever to pull through that gear.
You're winding out the gear. You're waiting. You're not in the car's power band. So I mean,
so there's that aspect of it. So whether it's a road course or drag racing, a good automatic or dual clutch is going to be faster, hands down. Now, again, because you have more gears and because they're tighter together on a road course, you're going to be shifting more. So you're, instead of just leaving gear forever, you're going to have to go through like 2 or 3 gears, whereas a 5 or 6 speed might have only gone through 1 gear.
Okay.
So on a racetrack, when some people say, and also there's a lot of people that do criticize them that don't drive them on racetracks, is, oh, I'm not shifting as much, or it's not involved. Well, you're grabbing that paddle a lot more because there's more gears. So on straightaway, you're going through the gears. There's a lot going on there. Yes, you're not working the pedals and moving a shifter with your hand, but these cars are also really, really fast. Like in a straight line, they're as fast or faster than a lot of the race cars that I drive.
And probably it's doing, like you said, a way more effective and efficient job than the normal guy.
Definitely.
You know, oh yeah, it's fun to have a manual transmission, but let's face it, like the normal Joe isn't a race car driver, doesn't know these things, so like that will definitely get you further faster, you know, without doing anything really, you know.
I think the biggest criticism against those transmissions by the purists, and I have manual transmission cars, and I have a couple that I'm never going to get rid of just because it is a dying breed, and I'm always going to have some manual transmission cars. My daily driver is a manual Mustang GT 2018.
The one out front?
Yeah, the one out front. But
yeah, what happened to the side of that, by the
way? Did you hit it on your way in?
So too many tacos last night.
So I will never get rid of manual transmission cars.
Okay.
But I think the biggest criticism of those are people who just drive on the street and realistically are driving really slow, because you can't or shouldn't be driving like you do on a racetrack or a drag strip out on the street. So when you're just daily driving, when you're just daily driving a car, there's a lot more going on, moving pedals, moving the clutch, moving the gear shifter, so that feels more engaging and involved because you're not accelerating that fast, you're not going that fast. So it's stuff to do while you're on your daily commute.
That sports feeling too, that gives you something that you're doing. You're not just letting the car drive, which is like easy, I guess. But people like that. I'm a sports car guy. I gotta shift gears.
Yeah. So I think that's probably the biggest criticism for those people that hate automatic and DCT transmissions, because on the street, you either leave an automatic mode and you're not doing anything, or even if you do grab the paddles, it is just
you're not doing the clutch and
but if you're driving these 600-700 horsepower cars at speed, you're going through the gear. You're busy.
Yeah,
you are definitely busy. So I think you need to put some of that into context. The people who don't like the automatics, there's some validity daily driving where it's not as involved.
Will they make this car in both?
I can't comment on that.
Do they? I mean, like, what about like the last one that came out? Is it in two? Can you get manual?
Actually, the last one, the last GT500 was only manual. It was
Same
not
thing with the GT350.
Only manual, and so that's a big thing now. Like on this car, like a lot of anticipation behind it. You know, what are they doing with the transmission? And now we see at least the DCT 7-speed Tremec is an option, but there hasn't been talk about a manual. So it's interesting to see where it's going. I still think it's really exciting. I mean, I'm super excited about the car. Will we get a manual transmission option for it? I guess we'll find out soon.
And somebody's asking, have you driven this car?
Yes, I have. I was one of the development drivers on them, so I've been driving them for.
So to answer the question, yes, he's driven the car.
This guy has driven it. He tests cars for Ford.
He's the guy.
This is the guy right here, hanging out.
That's why he's here.
Exactly, right? That's why I get him out here, try and get him to drink some rum. But
yeah,
I know, right?
You guys are just using me for my patio.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and your tacos, dude.
I was promised tacos.
Come on, man.
I didn't bring those out yet. Yeah. Wait till the end.
Yeah, exactly. We're working on it. So, the transmission, like, just back to it, because again, like, I personally don't have like a ton of experience with it. That is what a DCT is. What's in the Ford GT, which you've driven as well and know very well. How does this work? The transmission, for people who don't know what DCT is.
So a dual clutch transmission is it's not an automatic transmission. It actually has gears. There is no torque converter. It has proper gears that are spaced out, and there's dual clutch transmission. There's two clutches. So instead of a normal transmission like a manual or the old style single clutch like BMW SMGs that had just one clutch, where clutch goes in, the gears disengage, you're not accelerating, the gear shifts, and then the clutch re-engages and you're going in the next gear. A dual clutch transmission has two gear stacks and two clutches, dual clutch. And you're in one gear with the clutch closed, accelerating, and then as you're near red line, the next gear grabs as the gear you're in releases. So it is a seamless change of gears. In the announcement, they said that it does gear shifts in less than 100 milliseconds, and it is that seamless. And
compared to, let's say, like, I've been driving the A10, the 10-speed transmission from Ford in our 2018 Mustang GT. And that's a 10-speed auto. How is that like I don't know what they rate that as far as shifting, but that thing shifts super fast through all the gears. You get 10 gears, it's banging through gears like crazy. Is this like you're talking like super fast, even better performance than a transmission like that as far as the time for shifting and stuff?
I don't want to speak out of turn, and I don't know what the official shift times are in the automatic, but just going off of and automatics have, like, each transmission has strengths and weaknesses.
Okay.
And a pure automatic has some strengths and weaknesses compared to DCT and vice versa. But I'd say there's a reason that DCTs are in all the hypercars, supercars, exotics, Ford GT, and that's just because it is more of a direct, more like a manual.
Okay.
So automatics are getting better, and I would expect in the future they may even overshadow DCTs altogether.
Okay.
But right now, DCTs still have more advantages than disadvantages for proper sports cars, like the Ford GT, like most of the supercars, and now the GT500.
So, I mean, you said you've driven both. You've driven a 10-speed auto car, and that. I mean, how do you feel? Just your personal opinion. How do you feel like one to the other? I mean, is it like a noticeable difference on one or the other? I mean, do you like prefer one on the other as for different application, or?
I'd say there's they're different. Like I said, I think for track use and drag racing, I think the advantages of the DCT are better, so I do like it a little bit more than the 10-speed automatic. I love it in the Ford GT, so I do think it's a good choice for the platform of the car.
Got it. So how many the DCT in the Ford GT is how many, like, the ratio on it? The gear, it's
also a 7-speed.
A 7-speed. Okay, got it. So
cars.
is it how Is it like, again, do we know how different it is from one to the other? Like as far as the transmissions that's being used, is it the same one that's being used, or is it different variation with different ratios? Or?
Yeah, different gear ratios, because you're dealing with a turbocharged V6 with the Ford GT, while the 500 is a 5.2 liter supercharged V8. So naturally, you're gonna want different gear ratios, and also the GT is a mid-engine car, while the GT500 is a front engine rear drive, so that configuration's quite a bit different. So the only real commonality is the design in terms of being dual clutch transmissions.
So if we're going to give the Siskel and Ebert rating on the new DCT that you've tested or driven on the GT500, are we giving it a 2 thumbs up? Is that
the 4 thumbs up from me? So
nice. Awesome.
And one thing that I will say subjectively, and something that I'm really excited about for the GT500, is the work that the guys at Ford have done with the automatic shifting strategy, shift logic. Now, in a lot of magazines, like, what would you say is the benchmark for an automatic or dual clutch PDK kind of transmission? Like, what? I mean, anything that you've read, what?
When I think of it, I mean, I hear like always like Ferrari is at the top, and like, you know, like BMW's transmissions, you know, stuff like that, like, you know, McLaren's, you know, cars that have like, you know, like talking supercar stuff, or what people base their, like, you know, their knowledge about. Oh, you know, that thing's so fast it shifts within like a millisecond, blah 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 blah. Those cars, or at least from what I've read, you know, so
in terms of the shifting logic, I'd say Porsche's PDK has been highly regarded as you don't need to shift. Like, the shift strategy is so good that you don't need to shift yourself, because it's smart enough to know what gear you're in better than you are. And I would have to say that they probably are the benchmark, although another car that doesn't get enough credit is the Acura NSX. Those guys did a really good job with their systems integrations and their shift logic. So I think that car deserves a little bit more praise, especially for the transmission shifting logic than it gets. So like Porsche PDK and the NSX, I think, are 2 of the best shift logics out there. And there's some journalists that say that it's better than what a driver could do. I would agree that it's better than probably 99% of what drivers can do, but it's not as good as what like a professional could do in terms of knowing exactly what gear to be in.
Got it.
I'd have to say that the GT500, the shift logic, when to shift, is better than those 2.
There you have it. That's pretty solid, guys. That's there you go.
That's like an official statement.
Yes, Ford, baby. What's that? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, the rum kicked in. The rum you're not drinking kicked in. What we put in that water? Yeah,
that is water.
Yeah.
But
that's awesome, though. It's great news, man.
Yeah,
it's like so awesome to hear. We want to hear that type of stuff. I mean, everyone's waiting to hear this type of stuff. You know, how awesome is this car going to be? You know.
So when you're on a racetrack, you could leave it in automatic mode, and it's like, with me driving it, it's not any slower for me to leave it in the automatic shift mode versus me shifting it myself.
Really?
So the guys that put in hours and it's easy to tell transmission when to shift. It is really difficult to refine it to the level of Porsche's PDK and the NSXs, and Ford did it. So
pretty awesome.
I am like, it's just so exciting.
I mean, this answers the question, you know, for a guy like me, you know, and like all the guys that, you know, are here on your page and all, you know, this guy's like a legit race car driver. First time I've ever met him, but if he's saying that the auto is just, you know, fast as lightning, then like, okay, well, we got it then. There's the technology. He says it's better than it's ever been compared to the top cars. I mean, why would you manual transmit? Okay, for fun. No, it sounds like this is like the better option to have.
Way to roll. Yep.
I still like shifting myself, because again, that makes it a little bit more engaging. But for people who are going to take their GT500 to the track, and for it being so fast, instead of like, what gear do I need to be in?
Right. And not everybody's got that level of experience that you have, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, if we're hearing this from the top, you know, then I mean,
it's awesome.
I don't know.
And
you know?
I also would have to give your viewers another insight.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. Breaking news live on Team Lethal page. We have something from Mr. Billy Johnson here. What do we have?
It's cold outside.
I know, right?
very cold.
I'm shaking over here, man. Seriously.
I would say that the traction control system is awesome. So the work that these guys have done with the electronics and the systems integrations of the car is just continuing to move the bar higher and higher. So again, I really like the car. It is awesome on a racetrack, and yeah, the transmission for a DCT, it is really good. And also the ABS.
Okay.
So
yeah, braking.
I talked about this a little bit for the announcement of the 2019 GT350. So coming out this year, there was a revised ABS program and strategy, and I'd say that revision for the 2019 GT350 puts Ford's ABS at the top of the ABS strategy for any of the other cars out there that we've competed against and that I've tested and driven. So the GT500 also has that ABS strategy. Okay. So Ford's raising the bar. The car trail brakes, the 2019 GT350 and the 500. The ABS is awesome. You can drive it down into a corner and it doesn't just plow and understeer off the track. It tucks the nose, it gets down to the apex, and that has to do with the development and technology from racing that has come to the street. And Jim Farley has talked about the people working on the GT500 are the Ford Performance people that won Le Mans, and they're bringing that technology to the street. And I've seen that hundreds of times in press releases from various manufacturers, and that's a big marketing thing. Oh, race car technology for the street. But Ford is actually doing it. The people who are working on some of the race program stuff are working on the road car stuff, and the development of stuff like the ABS on the race car, the Mustang GT4. It's like the race car does this. We like that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
The road car stuff is not to this racing standard.
Okay.
How can we make the road car to the standard of this race technology? And that's what they do.
That's pretty awesome, man.
And that's what they did.
Yeah.
And it really is. The 2019
Ford.
GT350 is awesome with the ABS. The GT500 is right there with it, and it makes a huge difference on track.
Okay. Ford. I mean, it's so awesome to hear this stuff about. I mean, I feel like I'm tied into with the right group. You know, the Ford. Again, this is my life, my passion, my livelihood. I chose Ford, and I've felt actually really good about it over the last several years as well. I mean, the way, even though things are changing so much, I definitely feel like they're still dude, like you're talking about the technology, always wanting to improve it and stuff like that, and bringing us better vehicles, and also still, I mean, while things are changing, making this new car happen, because with all this stuff with emissions going on. They're cutting, down, again, on the emission stuff is real big. Where are they going? Where's the future of our industry going with that? And to see them actually come through and follow through with a car like this makes me feel good. How long will it last after that? We don't know, but let's take it and enjoy it while we have it, especially that they're doing such an amazing job with these vehicles now, with putting so much time and effort into it with, again, no idea when the show is going to end. But I like what they're doing, and I'm glad that it's here. So, well,
the future is smaller displacement turbocharged cars. So to see another big displacement supercharged car is definitely unique.
How many more of those are we going to see?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're going to keep on going EcoBoost, which again, by all means, I mean, awesome. Ford GT, sick car. I mean, Raptor, awesome truck. Even listen, the 4-cylinder EcoBoost Mustang, we've seen the guys over at UPR run 9s with a car like that. I mean, it's also, you've got the whole EcoBoost line of trucks. They showed the new, Explorer ST,
400 horsepower.
Which is sick. That's definitely a sick soccer mom, grocery getter vehicle. I like
get them groceries
doing
super
it.
quick. Super quick.
With the soccer mom sticker on the back,
Super
but
quick.
It's good stuff, again, to see. Yeah, like you said, the biggest thing is that the big displacement, supercharged, raw horsepower, You know, I would love to hear the vehicle. I can't wait to get it.
Well, on the announcement for the 500 on the live stream, like you heard it in there, and that's what it sounds like. It sounds awesome. I love the sound of the car.
So that basically the sound like on that intro where like the video game stuff, or it was like looked like the CGI stuff.
The exhaust note, like that is the exhaust note. It's loud and it sounds mean.
Awesome. It's like I remember back I just watched the other day, like I Am Legend, when they were just releasing that 2007 GT500. You know, and you get to hear it driving through, Will Smith driving through the city, and you hear it, you know, and that was how the car sounded, and it gave you an idea what it was like. Well, that's the truth. You just heard it too with the Ford's intro at the Detroit Auto Show. You heard the sound of it, and from what Billy says, it's exactly what it sounds like, you know, when you're driving the car. So, yeah, awesome stuff, awesome stuff. Where are we going, man? What are we doing? We giving away gift cards and stuff? Everyone having a good time out there? Do we have any questions, anything special that we got to ask here or answer for you?
They asked where's the rum we're talking about.
The rum. Where is the rum?
Still talk about the transmissions. I mean...
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean...
So as far as the transmission goes, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, they would love to have a GT350, but they don't drive stick, or their wife won't let them buy the GT350 because... the wife wants to drive the car,
and they don't drive stick, right?
Yes.
My problem exactly with the last actual car that I have. I have a truck now, but it was the same thing, and I was just like, but it was still super quick. Is my point. I had like a Volkswagen GTI. It was super sick, but it was automatic transmission, and the thing flew. And that was why my biggest question is because all my buddies with Subarus and stuff or whatever, they'd be like, oh, but how could you not get it? I was like, I don't know, man. It's super quick and like works really well. I never have to worry about skipping a beat, dude. It's quick, super quick.
While I love manual transmissions, I hate manual transmissions in traffic.
Oh,
yeah.
So if you're driving the car for real, and it's your car to drive, then yeah, it's terrible.
So growing up in Southern California, LA traffic sucks.
Oh yeah.
Florida traffic down in Miami is miserable.
It gets bad up here too during you know like
not like LA, but you know just to be fair to how crappy it is down there.
I remember that. Yeah, it's horrible.
So.
You're on that clutch and like non-stop,
the arm,
man, popping it
back
into
and
neutral.
Forth.
Yep.
So I definitely think, and again, there is a reason why manual transmissions are dying off. So, but I wonder how many people who didn't get GT350s are now, because of those reasons, are now like, oh man, like wife said I couldn't get a 350, I'm getting a 500.
Yeah.
So what was the price point on the car that you were talking about, the GT350, when it came out? We were kind of BSing about it a little bit. So how much is it, like, if I want to go out and get a badass Ford these days, what's it?
The GT350s, like the non-Rs, were probably what, in like the 60 range, 50, 60 range?
Well,
and
the very first year, it was like for the no option base car, it was like $49,999.
Okay.
And then more realistically, I think it was high 50s for non-R.
Yep, and then like with the, they have different packages and stuff, which they've changed over the years. Like some were like more track oriented, and then they have like the the street version, the technology package that has a little more of the bells and whistles for daily driving. Then they have the R version, which is like the race, track version with the carbon fiber wheels and some other things, different exhaust to it. And those, I mean, we've seen even like crazy prices on those early on. I mean, like major dealer markups on that stuff. And gosh, you're bringing that to now. I mean, no price has been talked about for this new car. I mean, there's a lot of speculation. I mean, me personally, I would think with everything that I've seen so far, I mean, I could probably see us like at it. I mean, is it too far-fetched to talk about like an $80,000 Mustang or higher? You know what I mean? With all optioned out. I mean, it's
the cost of things these days, and I assume that they're putting higher quality manufacturing pieces into these vehicles. As most vehicles these days,
Oh yeah.
All prices are way different than they were in 07 or whatever the hell you guys are talking about. It's like,
my 03 Cobra, when I bought it, was like $35,000 new. I mean, obviously that's a long time ago. Everything is changed.
Big time.
Yeah,
it's the same in food and anything else.
Yeah, of course. But
people always
amazing.
complain about it. It's
people
like, it's so expensive.
I think it's always. I don't know how realistic it is, but like if you just go to I think it's inflationcalculator.com and it's like how much was a dollar worth back in 2007. And if that's real, it's like holy crap. So
100%.
That's I think people lose track of that, and depending on how old you are, like when I got my first car, it's like, man, these the equivalent of like a regular Mustang would be like a $30,000 car. So how can a Mustang be $50,000?
Right, yeah, I know, right? It's for a Mustang.
You told me that like 80 grand. I was like, what for a
and
what?
people are buying pickups for 100 grand.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, exactly.
I think it's like when you talk
all
about that,
relative in a way.
you got to put it into context that
Yeah,
everything
of course.
is just getting more expensive.
Hey,
so.
look, I mean, listen, our last GT500, our 2013 GT500, I think that was like we paid over $60,000 for the car. I mean, and the car was awesome. So, and that was what? How many years ago? You know what I mean?
So how much is that?
5, 6 years ago.
Technically worth?
Yeah,
now?
exactly. Now, you know what I mean? So I could definitely see it.
I don't know. I need to look that up, but that may be like $70,000 now.
Yeah, exactly.
Are these cars like kind of like collectible in a sense at this point, this day and age, or like do they hold their value?
Shelby's do hold their value.
How's it work these
really
days?
well.
The Shelby's, yeah.
Yeah, the brands of Shelby's.
Yeah,
so you can look back to like the first or the GT500 from the mid 2000s. Like they hold their value pretty darn well.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but you know, it's like again, we're waiting on it. We want to see what these things go for. I mean, we're gonna get one, definitely. We're gonna get one, and I'd love to have you come out and thrash on it on a road course and stuff, and we'll do like rent out the drag strip and the road course, and we'll have a wonderful time, and you could show me the things you've learned from test driving the car on our own car. That'd be pretty awesome.
Yep.
So that's our plan. We're definitely gonna get one. Just looking forward to seeing that price, you know, and man, when are we gonna be able to order them? When's the order guide coming out? You know, we're looking forward to it. We want it. So, and for that, we're going to go to our guy, Philip Weichert over at Weichert Ford, Lake Wales. He's always hooked us up. Great peeps, and pretty much all of our cars we've gotten from him. So, we hit up.
So that's where I need to go for my next truck.
Of course, man. Yeah, Philip, definitely, man.
After this, I'm tomorrow, next week, dude. Let's trade my truck. Let's get a Ford, dude.
Yep. Everyone joining in now. We are here at the Lethal Performance 2020 GT500 reveal after party. We just watched the Ford release in the Detroit Auto Show. We're chilling out over at Cholo Soy, West Palm Beach. We've got my man Clay Starnes in the house, Billy Johnson, myself, Lethal Jared, and we've got Christy over there who's running the whole show. Thank you so much. I hope everyone is enjoying. Next topic that we're doing, we've talked a bunch about like the transmission and stuff like that, power output, stuff like that. You're talking about the braking, the ABS. The brakes on this thing look massive. You know, I saw like some of the specs that they had on the sheet here were like, you know, the size of them. The 6-piston fronts, 420 millimeter. In this leaked pamphlet. The rears look like a 370 millimeter 4-piston rear. I mean, just massive brakes. So you know. Performance and handling.
Unfortunately, I can't comment on that because that's not.
This could
official.
be completely fake.
Yes, but since they did show a picture of the video of the car and the car on the stage, I do have to say those brakes are massive. And a very technical comparison is the brake caliper from the top to the bottom is as big as my elbow to my top of my fist. Like this is how big that caliper is.
Break out the tape measure, guys. Come on now. We got
So scientifically, that's the caliper.
That's insane.
It's almost as tall as you.
That's crazy.
So
wow.
It is a gigantic.
So the braking on it, handling. I mean, it's just like this thing will just get on it, even though and making a ton of power. And you're talking about the driving it. I mean, into the corners and stuff. The ABS technology. I mean, they've set this car up to perform awesome.
So they did say in the announcement that this, I'm going to just double check.
Double check. He's checking his notes. You don't want to get in trouble over here.
Not getting in trouble.
Billy's smart. I'm not. I'm going to try and get him in trouble. Not really. I don't want to see anyone get in trouble, but.
Taking a quote, not my words, taking a quote, Jim Farley, most downforce out of any Mustang.
Okay.
So, not my words, Jim Farley's words. Most
Jim
downforce.
Farley, thanks for those words, man. We appreciate it.
In any Mustang. The car that they showed at the North American International Auto Show had a wing on it, big splitter in the front.
Okay.
Most downforce of any Mustang. So more downforce than the GT350R.
Got it.
And GT350R made a good amount of downforce, and it was really fast on a racetrack. The car that they showed has a big wing, and that wing is basically the GT4 wing from the car that I race in, or I'm going to be racing in 2 weeks at Daytona. And the GT4 wing is essentially the same profile as the wing that was on the Ford GT that won Le Mans.
Yeah.
So again, when Ford says this is race technology that's going on the road, that wing that won Le Mans turned into the GT4 wing, which turned into
the GT500.
the GT500 wing. So you have technology and you have DNA from a Le Mans winning Ford GT in that GT500. I think that's pretty special, and the fact that that is the wing that they showed, again, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's obviously
it's
the
the real deal. So
wing, and that wing is the real deal. That thing is legit.
That's
and,
awesome.
The fact that they put like a proper race
Not a
wing,
production
like
car.
the Ford GT or the GT350R wing made a lot of downforce, legit wing, awesome. I love those things. They look fantastic. But when you have a full span race wing from a race car that is now on the dealership floors, that's pretty cool.
It's just, again, stepping their game up, competing with, again, some of the top, manufacturers out there. We're a domestic vehicle that's performing against, like, major, like, import, the European sports cars that go for crazy amounts of money. I mean, the guys have bought, spent huge money on these cars, the McLarens and the Ferraris and Lamborghinis to perform on a track, and you're getting a domestic vehicle, a Ford vehicle with technology that's competing with vehicles like that.
I really like for the GT350R, which I was also played a part in the development of. I really like to see the fact that there was a lot of Porsche people, GT3 owners, buying GT350Rs, because the GT350R was as fast as a 991 GT3 on track for way less than half, almost a third of the price.
Crazy.
So it was really neat, and it drives awesome. It is a very pure, great handling car, and when you think great handling race cars, sports cars, like Porsche is right in that realm.
Yep.
And when you see all these Porsche guys buying GT350Rs, I think that was awesome. And then going for the 500, it is just at a different level. So I'm very eager to see what everybody thinks of the car.
I wish we can go out and drive in one right now, man. Go and tear it up. Or have you drive, because I can't drive.
I don't know if I'll
crap.
ride with you.
Yeah.
I've ridden with you.
No, I'm not that bad. I mean, come on. Yeah, seriously. Clay's all right, too. You drove all right, though, when we went to get the coffee earlier.
Yeah, that worked out.
Yeah.
That was a nice coffee run.
Definitely.
The coffee made it back, so I appreciate that.
Did in like 12 minutes flat. It was sick.
Let's see. Any other major points that they were spoken about on here, or at least that we took from the notes that we during the release that we can hit on? Like, I mean, we talked about the power stuff, the brakes, the downforce with the wing and stuff like that. And it looked like there might be two different versions based on what they had up there, like with that wing on there, possibly like the standard version and then like a track version. I don't know if we can comment on something like that, or
well,
what did you see? I mean, that
so
car.
On the video, they did show a spoiler in the video, and then they showed the car with the wings. So I don't.
It's a different one. Two different setups.
So there are two different setups there. I don't know if they're different packages or options. I'm not sure, but I can comment and say that the spoiler is really neat because it's not a wing and it's not a spoiler. It's kind of both.
Yeah.
So you have those big holes. There's two holes in the back of it, and also that's the same one that was on the 2019 GT350. So they announced that on there, and then you saw the same one on the GT500. So the open sections are actually aero profiles. It's a true aerofoil wing that creates downforce, and then the center section and the sides are blocked off like a normal spoiler, so it's kind of like a hybrid wing and spoiler. So that thing's pretty neat, and again, that's on the 2019 GT350 that they already announced. They showed the pictures of the same car on the GT500, so I can't get in trouble because that's just observation. Hey
man, it's all, look, guys, everyone, you gotta understand here, all of our fans, stuff like that, obviously there's, look, so much evolved. Again, all the rumors, Ford kept a great handle on this vehicle and keeping it quiet. It's still, again, not even officially releasing like a horsepower number or anything like that. And I'm always we always want to find out. Everyone wants to find out the real deal, but they want things quiet until things are official. And, you know, even though you have guys like Billy out there who test these vehicles and drive them for Ford and you know, help in the development of them and stuff like that, he can't just go out and, you know, spill the beans to everyone out there. You know, he's probably got some type of, you know, papers in place that say you don't talk about it, you know, or else you're gone. You know, so we respect that of you, Billy. And, you know, I really appreciate you, the fact, though, that the things that you did see to highlight and talk about a little more in depth than what we saw in the brief, you know, thing there from Ford at the Detroit Auto Show. So we definitely respect that and appreciate you, you know, talking about going a little further in depth on that and bringing that to our fans and our followers, our guys watching today. You know, we're having a great time here, man. Yeah, it's starting to warm up like a little bit, you know. Like a tad.
We're still taco-less, though.
I'm not shaking. Yeah, tacos.
Yeah. Probably like 45 minutes.
Is the smoked pork ready or what?
I might be able to get you guys like a 30-minute advanced session with tacos, man. Not a lot I can leak about this, guys. We open at 11:30, so like I don't know, man. I've got papers in place, contracts.
I think I know somebody though.
Yeah.
Do we know somebody?
Yeah, I know, right?
We got an in.
Dude, the tacos are legit.
We got an in.
But you hadn't been here yet. And I was like,
I came here for the tacos, and then you roped me into this.
You know, hey man, listen, I know you're a foodie and stuff like that, and you send me the pictures of the crazy like truffle steaks and stuff, and I'm like, dude, how have you not been to Cholo Soy yet, man? You know.
I'm here now.
He's here now.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Wait, Ford needed to release the GT500 for get him here, man.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
Here we are.
Exactly.
Never looking back.
Yeah, definitely thank Clay for this spot over here and stuff. For letting us be here today. Again, all of you guys for watching and stuff like that. You know, exhaust-wise, looks like on that car, had the quad tip set up on it from the images they showed. I mean, listen, the 18 GT sounds awesome with that active exhaust, you know, with the different, the switch, the change from the Sport to the track and everything like that. So I'm sure they're going to do something like that, I would think, on this car, or maybe not. But from what I've been told and what I'm hearing, it sounds awesome. So, yeah.
Well, another thing for, I think, the GT500 in general, it's supercharged. So the GT350, in some ways, if you want to drive similar comparisons, like the 350R is kind of like a Porsche GT3 in terms of high-strung, high RPM. I get revved to 8250 RPM, and you had to rev it out. And I think some GT500 owners who bought 350s missed that down low grunt.
Yeah.
So to get that 526 horsepower, you had to
wind it out.
And there's some old school guys or some guys that didn't want to wind it out, or it's difficult to get red line without breaking the law on the street.
Yeah.
I think this new GT500 that's supercharged is going to fill that gap in what some people liked with
what they were missing,
supercharged cars.
That instant gratification. I mean, hit that pedal, spin the tires, or feel that torque like come on real quick. Actually, Jake Teasler, if you guys don't follow Jake, buddy of mine, has a blog on YouTube, Jake Teasler, and he's a big automotive guy, real huge Ford fan. He was talking about that too. The differences between like the Hellcat and the current offering, like where we have the GT, it's not supercharged, or or the GT350. People want that instant torque. People want to hit on like a GT350. At least when I drove mine, I mean, it wasn't like you're going down the street and you whack the pedal down and it was spinning the tires and making crazy loud. You had to wind that car out to get it to a sweet spot, where now we've got that supercharged 5.2 liter. That torque, that torque, that horsepower is going to be there. You hit the pedal, you're going to feel it right away. It's going to take off. You could smoke the tires. I mean, that's what we've been waiting for, and I'm glad that it's back.
So yes and no. So I have to say that, again, because this car is competent around corners and does turn, and then some questions that I think I've seen in there of, can you put over 700 horsepower down to the ground? Mm-hmm. Yes, you can. And this car puts the power to the ground, puts it to the ground on track. So you're not just cracking the throttle, spinning the tires, and going crazy. Like, this thing hooks up. Yeah. So it's a
hook and go.
It goes. Okay. Yeah. So it's able to put its power down to the ground.
Kind of like those guys. Yeah.
A great job with the Magnerite suspension. Like, so that technology is just
Awesome.
And yeah, so it puts the power down to the ground. And looking at and also driving a bunch of supercharged cars out there, like the Corvette Z06s and the ZR1s, the 1LEs, and the Hellcats and the Demons. All those cars are supercharged. From a character standpoint, this new 5.2 liter is different.
Okay.
Is a different supercharged engine in terms of how it feels. So, like, they didn't talk about too much that I could really expand on about the engine, but I have to say that this GT500's engine is different from a feel standpoint than most supercharged cars out there, and that makes it special. So
awesome.
It is definitely unique in many different ways.
That's a cliffhanger, dude.
That's right there. Yeah. I know, right, dude? It's like watching the Giants games in the fourth quarter, watching Eli trying to do something.
Can't say anything, but I can say it's...
I know, right? Have a taste. Don't have a taste. We got it, though. No, and again, we respect it. No, it's awesome. It's funny. It's like Ford texting him now. Shut up. No. But, yeah, I mean, dude, the car seems, like it's going to be awesome. It's great hearing it from someone who's actually driven it and been involved in the development of it. I think that's really why, again, I want to bring this content to you guys a little bit different than just what you saw, a standard like this is, here's the car and here's some things about it. Like, no better than to hear it from someone who's actually involved in it, who knows it. It's like, the people who, your product to sell your product, you know what I mean, and who are involved with it, and that's it. And that's why I got Billy here. So, again, appreciate you coming out. This is the Lethal Performance after party for the 2020 GT500 reveal. Are there any other questions that you guys out in the audience have or anything like that, or anything you want to touch on before we roll out? And then actually head to our after party over at Palm Beach Dyno. You coming down to hang out with the guys, or you got stuff to do?
I'm not sure. We'll see.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, we'd love to have you down there. We got the tune maker in the house, Shoemaker and Ken Bionis. We're going to go visit those guys and talk about a lot of stuff that we spoke about here. Again, grateful that it's warming up finally. I'm feeling a little bit of heat coming through here.
I think it's a rum.
Yeah, it's a rum, definitely. Yeah. So, did we give out a bunch of gift cards and stuff like that? Awesome. Yes. Did everyone enjoy our show today? That was the whole point, to have exclusive content, have a good time, enjoy life, come sit down, be normal people, normal setting. Again, like Anthony Bourdain inspired, rest in peace. I love you, man. This is the type of stuff I enjoy doing, man. Come out and have a good time, and maybe before we leave here, we eat some tacos, because Clay's.
I don't think I'm going to leave without some tacos.
Yeah, no, we're not going anywhere till we get some tacos, Clay. Come on, man. Yeah. So, anything? No one said anything about the trans options.
Somebody asked. They said, "Oh, did you say it would be a manual and an automatic option?" And to comment on that, I asked, and no, we don't know. We don't.
There's been no official statement on there being a manual option. We definitely know that they mentioned the DCT, which is awesome, and we heard all about that. Billy explained. What color are we getting for Team Lethal? I don't know yet. We saw a couple new offerings. I think I've seen that was like the red color up there, kind of like a reddish color.
Yeah, I don't know colors.
Yeah, I just drive them.
Yeah,
I go fast.
I'm too fast for colors.
Oh,
man.
I got a question for you, which I've never asked you
right
before.
off.
So Ford GT driving, I was thinking about this before. How quick have you gone in Ford GT when you race the cars? Like, what's your normal? Like, I mean, I see. How fast do you go in these cars, man?
Well, the Ford GT at like Daytona or Le Mans, they're around 180 miles an hour, depending on the balance of performance and the horsepower that we have or don't have. So that number changes. So around 180, less, more. That's a pretty good.
And how,
ballpark.
like on a lap, how long are you going at that speed for? Let's say, like at that rate of speed compared to, let's say, on the slower turns. Like, what's a slower turn? Mile an hour, or like an area.
So most hairpins, the slowest is probably around 43, 45 miles an hour.
Okay.
And I'd say the most extreme case of that would be Le Mans in France. That's you're going like 180 for a long time, and it's a 2-lane road.
That's
like,
so
it is a
cool.
2-lane public road, and you have shoulders that are like rough gravel, or they're kind of paved, but there's like a big layer of like loose gravel on top. So it's a 2-lane road without
just a little bit of sketchy.
Yeah, it is so sketchy. So sketchy.
You're going from 180 down to like 45, back to 180, 2-lane road, and then you have prototypes passing you at over 200 miles an hour.
Really?
So that's definitely.
Dude, I couldn't imagine doing. I mean, listen, I
crazy.
Yeah, 180 miles an hour, like just like, you know, that's your. I'm going down the track and at a steady 180 miles an hour before I hit this turn. Like that's
no, it's nuts. I've been triple digits on my bikes, dude, and like, ooh, dude. Oh wait, no, I didn't. That's illegal. That was on Beeline.
I did get a speeding ticket. I actually, believe it or not, guys out there, for all my Ford fans, Mustang fans, I owned a Camaro back in the day before I became a Ford guy, and I got a pretty hefty ticket. I think it was like 138 and a 65, and thankfully I didn't go to jail that day. But again, I thought that was fast, and again, you're talking 180 miles an hour, just like a steady. Oh yeah, we're cruising 180. It's pretty sick, man.
Well, we gotta take you out to Daytona. You'll go way over 150 and it'll be a lot safer. So
I'd love to go. Yeah, definitely. I want to go for a ride with you, man. Let's do some more stuff and get some more content and stuff like that. And I mean, this guy has a lot to offer us, and you know, we have, as you know, locals here, South Florida, man, we got a great car scene. You know, we've got a lot of people who are involved in the automotive industry.
We have like the world's biggest cars and coffee here.
Yeah. Up there at the outlets, which I still got to go by. I got a little bit coming for that one. I got a character role I'm going to do for you guys. So
there's like over 2,000 cars. It's
oh wow.
I'm going to come up to the next one, man. You got to have your car there so I could do a bit with your car or something like that. Yeah,
we'll have to bring your GT500.
yeah, please. Like seriously, yeah. I mean, again, it's a 2020, so you know, it's like, when is this car going to be available? Also, like, how do the allocations work? I don't even know. Like, I know the allocations work, like, because I've seen people say, oh, we've got an allocation for a car already. But it's like, my thoughts were you couldn't actually get allocation for a car that's not even available yet, you know, that doesn't have an order guide or anything like that. So who knows, man? I mean, like, I want to order one. And I'm sure if Philip over there at Weicker Ford had the ability to order one up right now, he'd be like calling me up and here's the order guide and let's order the car. You know, that's not the case right now. So, I mean, a 2020 model, you'd think it with the reveal today and all the information coming out, I think we're going to see that come up shortly. So, you know, but it's like, dude, you know, it's like, I've heard people been able to get allocations for them, but I don't even think is that possible?
I have no clue.
Yeah, the
ordering
it's probably
process. Best just to keep in touch with your dealership.
Yeah. Get a hold of Philip for that one. So yeah. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching us. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. We are gonna wrap this up, clean up here, drink a little more rum, wait for these tacos, and then go down to Palm Beach Dyno for the after party. Right? I want to thank again Mr. Billy Johnson for joining us today. Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. And Clay Starnes for letting us have the space here. All my fans, all Team Lethal fans, for your support over the years and stuff like that. We're really excited about this new car. We're going to come out as much information that we have about the vehicle. We're going to keep on putting it out there. So thank you guys for following us. Thank you, Christy, for putting on a great show. We love y'all, and enjoy the rest of your Monday. Yes.